It's funny, when I was talking to him at the conference up there.
Already. Oh,
John,
wait.
very good. Good morning, and good morning to the special meeting of the City Commission of the City of Truth and Consequences. It is now Wednesday, November 8th at 9 o'clock. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call?
Honorable Steve Green.
Here.
Honorable Sandra Whitehead.
Here.
Honorable Kathy Clark.
Here.
Honorable Ralph Fischler.
Here.
Honorable Joshua Frankel.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. The next item is C, new business. First, number 1, discussion action, resolution number 1217-18, calling a special election to be held on January 23rd, 2018, related to the petition for a referendum on ordinance number 686. Ms. Kenton.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager. Attached is the final verification of the signatures for the petition that was submitted for ordinance 686. The final numbers are 198 valid signatures with 54 invalid and 2 signatures which were removed prior to the petition being submitted. The number of the signatures required for that petition was 168. Upon verification of the signatures, the commission is required to call for a special election within 90 days of verification. The approval of the resolution that was submitted will meet that requirement, and the special election day will be January 23rd. I have a more detailed calendar that we still have some final dates to put together with the county clerk that will be distributed to the commission and to the public that meshes both the regular March election and the special January election. With that, I want to turn your attention to 2 things. First of all, on the actual resolution, as you'll see from the copy that was printed, under section B of the resolution where it states the wording for the question, the boxes were, per state statute, were required to put for the above measure and against the above measure. I will be removing that underline for against the above measure so it doesn't show like we're telling anybody how to vote. So this is very even and very fair and impartial. And also on the Spanish version, there was one change made in the Spanish version that I need to take out the words un centro de Departamento de Policía, and then that Spanish version will also be ready to go. With that, we'll be turning this in and meeting with the county clerk, and I've already notified our automated election services and everybody that will be having a special election, and I'll open it up for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the commission to Ms. Canton? Commissioner Clark.
Ms. Catton, can you just go through the for the above measure and against the above measure for me again?
Yes. As I was running through the wording for the ordinance with our attorney, John Appel, we had originally put in favor of ordinance 686 and against ordinance 686. But we noticed in the state statutes for the referendum, it requires you to have this wording, whether or not you're for the above measure or against it. So we had to add that portion in instead.
So this is what's going to be on the ballot.
This will be exactly what's on the ballot.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Heschler, do you have any questions?
No, Mayor, everything looks fine.
Okay, thank you, sir. With that, I will stand for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 121718, calling a special election to be held on January 23rd, 2018, related to the petition for a referendum on ordinance number 686, as presented by Renee Canton, our city clerk treasurer.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead. I need a second.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Frankel. Any further discussion? Hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Honorable Steve Green.
Yes.
Honorable Sandra Whitehead.
Aye.
Honorable Kathy Clark.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Fischler.
Yes.
Honorable Joshua Frankel.
Yes.
It is unanimous. Thank you. The next item is C2, discussion action resolution number 1317-18, budget adjustment resolution. I don't see Ms. Torres here, but Manager Fuentes will do the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. So before you, you have a budget adjustment resolution. If you turn to your, the schedule of budget adjustments, basically, we are making the request to make several adjustments. Per DFA, it does require that anytime we adjust the budget, we have to identify a revenue adjustment if we're going to increase our expenditures in the general fund. So the first four items you will see is related to the general fund. As of our report to date, and looking at what our trend has been, we have identified two line items for increasing the revenue from 6,000 to 12,000. We're also identified another line item for adjustment of $24,000. And the reason for those revenue increases is, one, to increase the clerk's office line item for the election expenses. Since we do have a special election, $8,000 will be going for the election. There's an additional $12,000 that will be going for IT services. We have to make some, Systems MD has been making some improvements to the network, so we're having to increase that budget line item. Moving on, there's an expenditure line item of $60,000, which is to transfer out from the road department that originally we were going to be using that money for some road improvements, but we're going to use it as an interim money to get started with the pool repairs right away. And so that's being transferred out from streets to, which was essentially coming from the general fund to the pool for that repairs. We're increasing the pool department budget line item by $60,000, and that, in addition to the savings of personnel, plus the $60,000, will give us what we need to replaster the swimming pool. And that the PO has already been issued for that project. So you'll see there also on the revenue side, the other $60,000, which is just the transfer in. So you have to account for a transfer out, a transfer in the budget. Moving on to the last two items, you have a $97,000, and again, that's increasing the expense line item for the pool repairs. And then we have $50,000 for increasing for emergency repairs. In the commission action form, again, you just have pretty much the same numbers, just listed, identifying each of the individual line items. Again, this is just the general cleanup. The big items, of course, is the pool, because we do need to have those repairs done before March, when the next inspection comes around. And with that, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Manager Fuentes. Any questions, concerns? Commissioner Hessler, any questions?
No, sir. This seems like it was all expected, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, no surprises here. Thank you. If there are no further comments, I will stand for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 131718, budget adjustment resolution as presented and noted by Manager Fuentes.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead. I need a second. I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
Manager Fuentes, thank you for finding the money for the pool. I know it was not an easy decision to make that transfer out of the street department, because that's a bone of contention also. But I have heard from several people about the swimming pool, and I think it's paramount that we get that back open. So thank you very much.
And just to follow up, once we have, if we have any savings left, our goal is to come back and transfer some of that back to the streets fund. But right now, essentially, the street department will be busy with some of the local government road fund money. So they'll be tied up anyways doing other projects. So hopefully towards the end of the fiscal year, we can transfer some of that money back out, so we can do some of the repairs that we were originally intending to do.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
No further comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark, for mentioning that. Can we have a roll call, please?
Honorable Steve Green?
Yes.
Honorable Sandra Whitehead?
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Hessler?
Yes.
Honorable Kathy Clark?
Aye.
Honorable Joshua Frazier?
Yes.
It carries unanimously. I will stand for motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn this meeting.
I have a motion, I need a second.
I'll second that one.
We're out of here, thank you. Is that a record, 11 minutes?
Well, I can't be